Boom, bum, 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 bum. Hey, what's up? Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Friday Night Live with yours truly, Christopher Rausch, and of course, Scott Goyette, where we ask the tough questions of our guests and of ourselves to make sure that you guys expand your mind, expand your horizon, and expand yourself to be the best you could possibly be. Hello, Friday night. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So we hope you have your beverage here with us tonight because we have an amazing show for you. Again, we have an amazing guest who's going to be coming on here and sharing tidbits of information that you can start using right away. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine what would happen if you used a couple of the tidbits that you're going to learn today on the show? That is right. That would be pretty cool. So fasten your seatbelts, dig in, make sure you guys have something to take notes with. And of course, as always, we'd love to have you in the comment section there, commenting on whatever it is we're talking about. And of course, please ask us questions. That's what we love about this community. That's what we love about you guys, is that you bring your questions, you bring the engagement. And it's less of an interview and more of a discussion. And that's something that we really, really want to stress to you guys is this is a community. This is a family. This is an involvement where we come together once a week, have a couple of drinks, whatever it might be, talk about current issues that we can actually use to become our better self. So we don't have any regrets as we get older and as we venture on to the next journey. And speaking of next journey, I have the privilege of sharing the screen tonight with none other than Mr. Scott Goyette. What's up, brother Scott? How are you, man?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm jazzed. It's Friday night. It's 5 o'clock. I got my beverage. I got a pink container because both of my containers are in the dishwasher. So this one says, "Every day I'm hustling."
Every day I'm hustling.
What are you drinking?
So I actually got a Pinot Noir with a blackberry sparkling water, some apples, and a dash of fresh orange juice, making into a little bit of sangria. Dude, I'm playing hard.
I'm just gonna laugh. I'm just gonna laugh because I mean, seriously, dude, that's one of the things I love about you and I love about our show is the fact that there's like we're so alike, but we're so different. You're like all white and peaceful and looking angelic. He's had his Pinot Noir with the berries and everything. All you need is a lay, and I'm over here like a busted chainsaw in a rock and roll environment drinking Jack Daniels. I love it.
So here's the funny thing. Deep down, like any of my friends from Boston are listening to this going, dude, you're such a bitch. Like they're making fun of you right now. Cause here's the truth, dude. I'm a high-end whiskey drinker. I love good whiskey and Coke. Like my real drinks are that. But as I've gotten older, if I have like one or two of those, I want to go out and party all night. So this, I don't know if like the trick to this is have a few of these and I'll stop. Maybe I don't even like them. Maybe I drink it so that I don't drink too much. I have no idea, but it's the old version of me. Like I'll have two of these and I'll be like, that was a nice night. I'm going to go do some meditation and go to bed and I'm okay. So
I'm not going to go out there and drive a Buick up the wrong side of the freeway off ramp. No,
dude, 2 shots of good tequila and we have trouble. So I just don't drink the tequila. I drink my Pinot Noir with some fresh squeezed orange juice with a few organic apples and a little bit of blackberry spritzer. That's what I'm going with, Chris. And that keeps me on the show.
I love it. Don't spill it on that pretty white shirt though. Don't.
No, it's actually it's frozen. No, just for effect. I'm just kidding. It's real.
I was gonna say. We know how freezing is. So where are you at right now, man? You're not in your normal Go Love Now studios.
No, we
secret location held by the FBI.
We needed to get away. Got a lot of stuff going on, and we had a chance to come out to the Horseshoe Bay Resort in Marble Falls, Texas. It's gorgeous. It feels like you're in an island. It's right in the lake. So we got palm trees. There's a fire out there. There's a jacuzzi. We just popped in. We're going right back out. We're ordering Thai food. We're going to head back out right after this. But it's a much needed 2.5 days of deep breaths and everything that I'm always preaching because I bet people know. We need some deep breaths right now. So I'm taking many of them, many deep breaths.
I think the collective United States of America and the world is going,
oh.
I do that all day long. My wife must be like, can he breathe? Because I hear him going.
Yeah, you got like asthma or something, or what's your deal, dude? Chris,
I'm like, there's blood on the counter.
I've got to tell you something before we bring our guest on real quick, and you're gonna laugh. And I'm gonna say it real quick, and then we'll bring her on because we don't want to leave her dangling. So when I got off the phone with you, I'm gonna just tell everybody what I said to you real quick, and I'm gonna tell you what happened to me because you're gonna laugh. It's funny.
Okay.
So I've been being extra jovial, making lots of jokes lately. And I said to Chris, I said, Chris, I'm losing my shit right now. I go, there's so many things that are affecting me, and I'm always in service to so many people that mentally I'm just losing my mind. And I go, so one of the things, if you noticed, I've been extra jokey and I've been making like jokes. Everything's a joke. And that's been in defense of me just losing my shit. So Kim and I, my wife and I, we're big fans of animal totems and animal spirits. Like anytime there's an interaction with an animal, we look it up and see, why did that come into my life? And we always have crazy ones. A couple of years ago, I got attacked by a hawk, and that was all about rebirth and all these things. So today, I'm literally clipping my nails before we get in the car to come here, and I see a yellow jacket land on my forearm. I'm a big fan of like Buddhism. Let things land on me and fly away. I just look at them like, hey, little buddy, it stings my mother effing arm. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm so pissed off. So, dude, I have like
creatures.
Chris, I have this big lump. I have this big allergic reaction. It's like swollen like crazy.
I can't see it.
Out there. So, Chris,
you got stung on your wiener?
It was on my wiener.
On your arm.
On my arm. So Kim looks it up. Chris, guess what it says? It says that the spirit totem is all about duality. When you get stung by a yellow jacket, the reason there's a yellow and black, it's duality. So what it is, I almost shit my pants when I read it. It goes, you are trying to figure out why there is good and bad in the world and how to balance yourself within it. Go Google it. You're going to read this and you're going to freak out.
Crazy, dude.
And then it says, learn to use the defense mechanism of laughter to get through the tough times. I'm in the car. Kim's like, drive straight. I'm like, these animal totems are so right on. So, sorry.
That is crazy.
I know. So, I want to share with the world to have a little bit of hope, add a little bit of laughter, get stung by a bee if you need to.
Kill a fucking yellow jacket.
Yeah, you need to get a wiener stinging yellow jacket. If that's what it takes, then go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that is so crazy, because I know you've been going through that and I know you believe in that. So that's just wicked weird how that comes into play, man. That's super wicked weird.
Chris,
but I totally believe it.
I want you to go Google it.
Our guest is backstage laughing her butt off. She's laughing her butt off. She's like, what are you talking about? Yellow jackets and Pinot Noir with a bunch of fruit and vegetables and
she gets
Oreo
it.
cookies. So you've talked to Susan before. Would you mind introducing her to the rest of us?
Okay. So here's the deal. All right. There's some beautiful people in the world, and I'm a massive fan that we're all beautiful spirits. There's some people who are just so beautiful on the inside and out that you have to introduce them to the world. And Susan is one of those people where we can't let her just sit in Connecticut. We have to bring her out here and introduce her to everybody, because when you meet Susan's spirit, there she is. No further ado. Susan Wheeler.
What's up, Susan? Welcome to Friday Night Live. How are you?
I am drinking water, you guys. I brought the lemons.
That is Tito's vodka. That is from Stater Brothers. Oh no.
I know.
Why are the lemons in your water? It sounds pertinent for some reason.
Lemons in my water. I should have lemons. There's lemon oil in here. We just came back from a trip. We were in Florida last week, and we were drinking 7 days a week for every meal. Yeah, it was 5 o'clock somewhere all day. Yeah.
So anyway, you're a captain in a boat.
Yes, I've never driven a boat before. Guy, he's like, "Hey, do you want to drive?" And I was looking around like, "Me?" Yeah. So I had a couple of Trulies. He goes, "That's okay." So I was out in the middle of nothing. Like I couldn't have done anything. But
boats and airplanes are fantastic as long as somebody's already gotten you out of the runway or gotten you off the dock and you're middle of nowhere. Anybody can take the wheel and you're fine. Just it's landing and taking off.
Yeah. I was in the channel. I wasn't doing any of the K-turn parking stuff, whatever they do. Yeah. It was fun. It was cool.
Good. You got to be out having a good time. You got to be out living a good time. I mean, life is short. And that's one of the things that we really promote here on Friday Night Live, is the fact that life is short, and really to kind of cut to the chase to, help people really discover who it is that they're supposed to be on a very authentic level, a very congruent level. I think that's super important. Scott and I really appreciate you being here tonight. You are the author of The Lemonade Diet. Want to tell us a little bit about that book? And I'm curious as to why the title.
Right. Because people that know me, we'll start there. People that know me, we own an organic vegetable farm in Connecticut, and I'm a health and wellness coach, and I work with a nutrition company. So people think it's a diet, right? So it's sort of a play on words. And, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade, right? It's kind of a mindset diet. And that's the way I look at it, because everything really boils down to mindset. I don't care what it is. It's all, if you can't get it right here, you can't get it right anywhere. So it really starts with your mindset. So the book is my stories of things that I've overcome, that I've persisted through and persevered through and made lemonade.
What is one of the biggest things you've had to press and persevere through, and what did you learn from that?
Well, let's see. There's lots of things, but I'm showing up here tonight, right, with a big smile on my face, a big glass of water.
I know. I want to say big hugs. I want to say big hugs. I wanted to say that. I wasn't sure to say that, but I think that's where you're going. So I'm sending big hugs.
Thanks. Yeah, we had quite a couple of days, and we lost our 15-year-old dog today, and we kind of knew it was coming, but so. Here's a perfect example. And she was our friend. She lived in our home, slept in our bed, right? It wasn't just, some dog that whatever. And I don't even care if we had her 5 minutes or 15 years, but point in case is that these things are awful and they're tragic, but you can't dwell on it. I had a good cry today. Our other two dogs got to say goodbye to her. We buried her with our other two Jack Russells. We've had Jack Russells for years and years. So we have 3 that are gone now and 2 that we have. And I could let that take me out of the game, right? I could, and believe me, I feel it in my heart, but you have to go on. And I think that's really my message, is that things happen and it's okay to grieve. And I'll continue to grieve a little bit, but I'm here tonight. I'm showing up for you guys. I'm showing up for your audience. I'm showing up for my audience. And I think that's part of my message, really. That I could have called you this morning and said, oh, I'm a mess and I'm exhausted. And we were up with the dog for 2 nights and we had to put her down today. And, can you schedule me another time? That's not how I do it. And I think it's important I sort of am practicing what I preach. So, there you go. But it's so I don't expect, it's hard. It's hard for people, but that's where we get stuck in our life, is when we have something awful that happens, and something's going to happen. It's going to happen again, something else, something different, another day, another incident. And you just have to learn to quickly move on. And it is changing your mindset. And so, I wrote a little thing about her on Facebook, but I really was smiling as I was typing, crying a little bit, but through the tears, I was smiling, going like, oh my gosh. And my daughter came in, we were laughing about a few things that she had done. And you just have to celebrate the silver linings, right?
That is so beautiful. I send big hugs.
So I would love to totally switch gears, because Chris and I are all about being in the moment and doing what happens. And, things shift on a dime, life shifts on a dime. I would far rather take this to a place, because one of the things that Chris and I do in our coaching is, in the first few weeks of coaching, we actually have people write a eulogy. And I think it's very important to think of the verbs that are the beautiful thing in a person's existence. So when I say the verbs, like, did she make you laugh? Like laugh, like teach, like learn, like what were the things? I would love to learn some stuff about your relationship with your dog. Because listen, Chris is a dog owner. I'm a dog. And to say owner is probably the silliest word. It's a
dad.
How about,
I would
this?
take a bullet for my
How about
dog.
the dog is our teacher, and we are blessed to be the student of the dog, and we feed them for lesson. Is that reasonable?
Oh, that is so reasonable. That is so reasonable.
Can you, because I would love to spend this time, because I know you're in a time of grieving, and honestly, for us, the most important thing always is our guests. And you know, I'm like, we're dog owners. I have tears. Like, I'm thinking it right now, like, because I know when we put down our last dog, it wasn't long before you and I met. Kim and I was sitting with our dog, and that last breath, it was just it's a stressful moment. And I can think of all the beautiful things that Callie brought to our lives. Let's talk about some of the beautiful lessons that you learned with your relationships. I think that's important for all of us, because that's as important as anything we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm. Good question.
Yeah, I'll just give you a little bit of my background. So my mom was a professional handler and a dog breeder. So I grew up when I was a little girl, like 4 years old, and she couldn't find me in my bed at night. She would go downstairs and I would be in the whelping box with the brand new baby puppies. They can't walk, mommy, they can't. And I would be the one that would be up all night when they were giving birth. And like, I am such a dog lover. And everyone that meets my dog says, oh, I want, we have Jack Russells now. And, I want a Jack Russell. I'm like, they're not for everybody, because I have sort of built my life and my work really around my dogs. I don't think there's anything I love more. If you told me you asked me what my favorite thing would be, it would be my dogs. And you ask the question, what have I learned? And I'm thinking, like, what haven't I learned?
Mm-hmm.
What haven't I learned? I think I've learned everything from gosh, how to behave, how to greet people, how to treat people. Dogs have it right. They really, really do. They're so sensitive. They don't hold grudges. They're grateful. They have gratitude for all the small stuff, right? They don't need, when I come home, they don't want to know what's in my grocery bag. They just want me to pet them, or pick them up or something. Just acknowledge them, and it's just so simply beautiful. I changed before the show because I knew it was going to be live, but I had my t-shirt on today, and I showered. Yeah, I did the whole 9 yards, but I had my t-shirt on today, and it says Dog Mom.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of that. And it's, I treat my dogs, they are dogs, right? They're spoiled with love, but they're so well behaved. I mean, John is, oh gosh.
John Stankwitz.
Do you know what he said? Do you know what he's talking about?
Out my book. Well, she should swap out your book, dude.
That is so funny. He's got a shrine here.
Have to start him here for a minute.
Yeah, no, we've seen that. We've seen this same spot. We know that spot. That's the John shrine.
We've been here.
The interview spot. What's up, John? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, buddy.
Oh gosh, he's so cool. So I'm just really honored and proud to be the mom of some really exceptional dogs. Like, how we're proud of our kids. Like, I feel like that with my dogs. And Ellie was one of the toughest dogs I've had, to be honest with you guys. She was the leader of the pack. So it was tricky. It was a little tricky. But that's the cool thing too. I totally got her. She was very smart and she was the leader of the pack, but guess what? I was one step ahead of her. And so we had this great relationship because I always knew when to head her off at the pass. And I knew how she thought. And she was she was so cool. She just did the funniest thing. She was the quirkiest thing. And a little story about Ellie. So 3 years ago, we had her best friend Moose was killed on our property by a coyote. So we have 26 acres. I have never lost an animal that, viciously. And she came in to the house, and my dogs that don't bark, they're not yippy, they're not scratching at you, anything like that. She came in. She was like Lassie, telling me to get my ass outside. And at first I was like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? And of course I didn't make it in time, but that was so huge to me to realize that her best friend was out there getting attacked by a coyote. Mm-hmm. And she came in and she told me. She told me. So they're just exceptional. Did you guys ever watch that movie? I think it's called A Dog's Purpose.
Yep. Dog's Purpose. Cried my brains out. And but you know what's so cool about it is true, because Moose, who we lost 3 days later, and so we just had Ellie, and she was a mess and I was a mess. I said, we can't do this. We've never been a one dog family. And it was in the middle of the winter, and I went and got another puppy. And that dog, who was Finn, who is my buddy now, it saved me. And there's a lot of quirky things he does that Moose did. And somehow there's something, but I actually wrote a chapter about this in my book, Get a Dog. A lot of people will grieve for their pet for so long, and they won't do it, but it's so healing. Pets are healers. They have them, going into nursing homes and going into hospitals. When I was sick in the hospital, someone brought a dog in, and instantly my fever went away. It's like, this is so cool. Can the dog, all I wanted to know, can the dog get on the bed? I want the dog on the bed with me. And so they're just so healing. And Scott, I think everything in life you can learn. You know how they say everything in life you learn in kindergarten?
Oh,
right? You can learn it from a dog, everything.
So I propose that what we do is we have all college professors become dogs, because I feel like they're just much better lessons. Perfect. I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm actually thinking of with the exception of maybe like stats.
You're a college professor, so I see you as a labradoodle.
It's a great labradoodle. I'm the big ones though. What is the giant doodle? The big doodle.
I'm gonna try to pick a different breed. You're more like you look like a Bernese Mountain Dog tonight. But I don't have my glasses on.
I could go with that, or I feel like I'm almost like a yellow lab or something. I'm a bouncy, I want to run in the water and bring a rock out bigger than my body. And dude, are you serious? That's a little bigger than you should be bringing out of the water. You okay?
You're like, really? I don't think so.
I found
got this.
Don't give me a hard time. It's my rock.
It's my rock.
All jokes aside, I always remember people used to say who were dog lovers when I was a kid, because I grew up, my grandparents had a cat. And they had a cat named Mittens, and it was actually killed by a dog. And I always felt very connected to dogs. And I remember the dog lovers would always be like, the gods spell dog backwards. And once I started to really connect with dogs and own dogs and had friends who had dogs, I'm that person that walks in the house and everyone's like, my dog hates people. And they run up and they're my best friend. And I'm like, no, your dog hates you. It's your problem. Be cool. Dogs have good energy, and I'll wrestle your dog all day long. I'll put my arm in their mouth. They're not going to hurt me. And there's something, you are so right. Let's figure out how to shift this, because what I want to do is I want to take all these lessons that you've learned from, it was Ellie, correct? So Ellie, Callie, all the dogs that we've all lost in our lives. What lessons can we teach the world right now? Because you've got Lemonade Diet making lemonade out of lemons. It's really output. What do we take in and what do we bring in the output? The dogs are teaching us lessons. We've got these phenomenal lessons we're learning. Almost everybody I know right now is taking deeper breaths than normal. We're struggling with some stuff. We're trying to figure out this new energy and this massive universal shift. what can the dogs teach us? And let's speak it through our voices. What can the dogs teach us to share with humanity right now to get through this chaos and this stress? Because there's some lessons. I bet we've got some good ones.
Yeah, you know what? Right off the top of my head, I'll start right off the top of my head. Ellie would, so we have big fields and we have a farm and they hay the fields. And whoever lived here before us must have used the field to hit golf balls, like perfect their swing. You guys don't know how many golf balls are out there. And Ellie found every single one of them. And she would chew the golf ball all the way down to, I never knew what the inside of a golf ball was. It's like little, yeah. And now I know. And so she would take the kids when they were younger. John played soccer. So Ellie was really John's dog. She was a birthday gift for John. And he was always, you know, he played soccer and he was kicking the ball around all the time. I can't tell you how many soccer balls we had to, because she would, this little dog, she was 10 pounds. Her mouth was, you know, smaller than my hand. And she would destroy a soccer ball, a golf ball, a basketball. You know how tough a basketball, and it's so big. How do you even start? Where do you start? Right?
That's a great analogy.
It's true. So never quit. Never quit. If you have your heart set on something and you're going to go for it, you will find a way to do it. And she did. So never quit and you know, keep going. Find a way. Seriously.
So at what point in your life did you want to quit, and what got you to keep going?
Oh gosh, for me, there were many times I wanted to quit. The probably one of the toughest things was when my dad died when I was 16. He died a week before I was to go back to school for my senior year of high school. And he died suddenly. He was 49 years old. And in 1 week, I had to go back to school. Like tonight, I showed up here, right? And I was told I didn't have to go back and I could take my time. And I thought about it, and I thought I could stay home and sit here by myself in my misery. And I was miserable. I mean, I can't tell you how depleted I was from the tears and the anguish. It was horrible. And as bad as that was, I knew I needed to pull myself together and go to school. And it was a tough year for me, but I went and I did it. And I think that that's important. I think it's important to, you know, I did want to quit. I didn't want to do anything, but I just kept doing it. I don't know how I got through that year. It's kind of a blur to me.
But so you gained strength. You gained strength out of that particular situation. As you look back, you got through it, and it probably helped you get through other situations in your life as well, right?
Oh, I do that all the time. I will, when I do something hard, then then I do something completely different, but I'm like, oh, if I could do that, you know, I can do this. And you just sort of know, you build that muscle of
resilience.
Yeah, exactly. And having no fear, really, just trusting in the process that I can do all things, even though I haven't, because I've never done this before or that before. So I just always draw from that. I bounce back pretty quick now.
That's an amazing skill set. And when I look at so many people, you know, when Chris and I are coaching or looking at ourselves or looking at a friend or family member, it's so easy for people to sit here and say, there's no way I can do that. And I know that somebody here right now is sitting here saying, if I ever lost a loved one or my dad or somebody that significant in my life, there's no way I could go back. And this is something I think is the most important piece. What did you do in your inner critic, your inner voice, to shift to say you will go back? Because that's a hard thing for a lot of people to do. When you're sitting in the noise and your brain is spinning, How did you get up that day with everything going on, if you can recall, and literally walk out that door and take that first step? That first step, get on the bus, get in the car, go to school. That's probably the scariest step that anyone ever take. And I love what you said. That became muscle memory. So once you did it once, the next challenge, as crazy as it is, you were ready for it. And that's life. That's resiliency. What do we do to take that first step?
Well, Scott, that is great. And this is a perfect example, and I can totally bring it home for you here. So the year before, my junior year of high school, one of my classmates, her dad died. And I remember thinking that only happens to other people. I really thought that in my 15-year-old brain. And the thought of losing my mom or my dad just paralyzed me. And so it was almost like, okay, well, that's out of the way. Like that could never happen to me, right? And Julie came to school. She came back to school. And I remember thinking and seeing her in school and seeing her eat lunch and seeing her go to class and seeing her go on a field trip or whatever it might be, looking normal, right? We weren't best friends, so it's not like but she was a classmate and someone I knew and that I saw frequently. And so I think it's important, like what we're talking about here, because when something happens, it's the first time, right? There's a first time to lose a parent or a child, God forbid, or your dog or your job or get a divorce, whatever it might be. So I think it's important, the work that we all do, because if you talk about it, so maybe someone doesn't have a Julie in their life, right? They didn't have a Julie, but if they could hear me say that, and that, honestly, that gave me the strength, because I thought, okay, well, Julie went back to school. And it wasn't like she was calling me and saying, oh, so we weren't friends. I mean, we were classmates, but exactly. And I just thought that's what you do. So I think it's important to find people that are going through what you're going through in all this community. It's so important because it does give us that sort of baseline of, well, if Julie could do it, then I can do it. And then someone will look at me and say, well, if Susan can do it, then I can do it. And over the years, there were several kids. So I was really involved. I was a stay-at-home mom, always working sort of, my own entrepreneurial journey. But I worked in the school and PTO and et cetera in the classrooms. And there were several kids over the years that lost parents, and they were even younger than me when I was. And I talked to them because I knew exactly what they were thinking and feeling and going through. And it was so helpful to them. And when a couple of them, when they graduated, thanked me for like 7 years before helping them. So it is important, whether we know someone or not, but just to even be in a situation like this and share our experience.
What you just said about, if Susan can do it, I can do it. That is the most selfless, beautiful way to look at resiliency that I think I've heard. Because one of the things when I talk about resiliency is building it in a team. And so I always talk about it's a team. And it's have a person you can trust, have a person who's emphatic and energized, who supports you, have an accountability person and mentor. So you create resiliency by almost selfishness, building a team that creates resilience. You just actually spun it completely the other way, which was beautiful. You went right to a space of service. You said, I need to do it because if somebody sees that Susan can do it, then I can do it. And it might have been because of your friend, you seeing it and you saw that reciprocal action. But man, I would love to sell that to people. I would love what you just said was the gold in this whole discussion, because when I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, oh my God, what if I ever lost a family member or someone close or this? How could I do it? And when you said that, my heart just started moving. I started saying to myself, that's why I would do it, because somebody else sees that I could do it. And if this world's about connection, then what you just did was you allowed that connection and that service to others to just unfold. And that's the beauty. That's powerful. Thank you.
That is super powerful. And when I think about what we're talking about, guys, is we're talking about everything mindset. And I think, Susan, you said that originally. You're a mindset coach, which I love the fact that it says mindset coach. So I'm the no excuses coach. So talk to me about, in your experience, what are the top excuses you see with your clients, and how do you help them overcome those excuses?
Oh gosh, the excuses are endless. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I laugh them off a lot of times because, we all get blown off at whatever it might be. But the excuses are never what the problem is. The excuses are always something else. And, I was looking at your hashtag, no excuses. I'm like, yes, I love that, because if we just gave up our excuses, if we just eliminated our excuses, because our excuses become our biggest problem, bigger than any problem we already have. So I'm trying to think if I can even think of because there's so many of them, they're endless. But that is such.
Do you get no time, no money, no?
In pertaining to what? So for me, okay, so if I'm helping someone, say, with their weight loss journey, right? Okay. They will not want to get started, and their excuses will be, I'm going to start. So say I'm talking to someone now, they might not want to start till the middle of January, because Thanksgiving's going to come up, that one meal, where we're all going to eat, we're going to eat 5 pieces of pie. So what? Eat your pie, eat all the stuffing you want, eat everything you can, just eat, and then start again the day after Thanksgiving, right? And Christmas and parties. I'm like, who except me on vacation in Florida parties at breakfast time? And I really didn't. But my point is, they'll make excuses like waiting for the perfect moment. And so there's many excuses. I don't care what it is. If they whatever it might be, waiting for the perfect moment is what the excuse is. So they've got a birthday party or whatever, and that runs across the board. So I think people, their biggest excuse is commitment. They're not going to commit. And I like to I jump in. I don't even think about it. I got up the other day and I said to my daughter, hey, I just got back from Florida last night. I said, let's cleanse today. It's basically fasting, for 2 days in a row. And she was like, could we start tomorrow? I'm not really prepared. So I did wait a day because I love the accountability, but I love when people dive in. Procrastination is an excuse, and I just see it all the time. I like to make a decision and just do it and not overthink it. And when I'm in the middle of something, I figure it out. I adjust, adapt. I was just talking about that. I think it was the blog I just wrote, maybe. I think that's what it was. I wrote a blog about being on the fence, and we're all on the fence, right? And I'm just like, get off the fence. It's like jumping into a ice cold water, right? Just jump, because if you put your toe in, the toe comes out, in and out, right? Just do it and get into it, and then figure it out, as you go. So I think that's probably number one for everybody, because people can't decide. They can't make a decision and just do it.
We should buy the domain assoonasi.com. And if it's available, let's just buy it, because I'm listening to it. How many times you hear, no, I'm definitely going to do it as soon as and it's like, blah, blah, blah. Chris, tell her
I
your
call it the
favorite
someday
story.
game. I call it the someday game. Everybody,
There's-
everybody, someday when this, a someday was this, a someday when this. I'm like, you hope, wish, and pray, and you play the someday game. How's that working out for you?
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. It's just
Yeah, you're the no bullshit coach.
Yeah,
you
go
don't
to the old folks home. I've done it.
wait a second. Jonathan told us
5 people, what would you have done in your life different? And every 5 of those guys are gonna be like, I would have had less prunes. No, they would have said, I would have fucking went out and did the things that I was scared of doing, because guess what? I'm still here, and guess what? I didn't do them, and now I get to think about it for the rest of my living days. So how miserable is that?
They do say that regret, people regret the things on their deathbed, not the things that they've done, but the things that they haven't done.
it's always having that. Yeah. Don,
Yeah.
no one ever said,
amazing.
why did I do that? Ever.
Yeah, I wish
The
I
5
never.
regrets of
Yeah,
dying.
exactly.
The 5 regrets of dying. It's an amazing book.
You're
Oh, okay.
you're essentially just doing our whole show for us.
Should I just stop?
No.
Do you know who Steve Harvey is, right? I must get $1 for every time I say it. You know who Steve Harvey is, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen his video Jump? If you did, you would know it.
Okay. Well,
Like less than 2 minutes. Less than
fill
2
me in
minutes.
a little bit.
He's in a parking garage. He talks about it. It's filmed on a cell phone.
Yeah.
You have to check it out. Essentially, what he does is, huh?
I was just saying, he's just telling you to shut up and jump. Like, just jump.
Literally, my coach gave it to me last year, and she was like so frustrated with me. She's like, Chris, Jesus Christ, dude, you're gonna be successful. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna be a little rough, but I promise you, if you do it, you're gonna be fine. I know you. Perfection, everything. I'm safe. Survivor mode. She's like, watch this video. She actually had me watch the Bob Newhart video. And if you're a coach, you got to have that one, because she kept telling me, like, the Bob Newhart video, stop it. Have you ever seen that one, Susan? Oh, that's amazing.
You know what? I'll tell you, I'm terrible at remembering things like that. If I saw it, and I might be like, oh yeah, I've seen this before.
But the jumping.
My brain's just like Susan's. Like I'll see it, and you'll be like, did you see that movie? I'm like, I don't think so. And then you start explaining, I'm like, oh yeah. So I just assume that I probably seen it. Yeah, it's easier.
But essentially, for the people who are watching and haven't heard it in yourself, Jump really says that Steve says, you know what? You have to believe in yourself. You're going to jump. You're going to scrape your back on the side. Your parachute's not going to open. You're going to sit there and look at everybody else soaring and flying. Like, what the fuck are they doing? I'm just like dropping in midair, like dead weight. Now, what am I going to happen? You just got to jump, and you have to understand that you're going to bang up, but eventually you're going to figure it out. Your chute's going to open up a little bit. You're going to figure it out. But if you don't jump, your chute never opens. And that's kind of the long and the short of it, under 2 minutes. And it's really just a beautiful way of saying, like, you have to trust in yourself. You have to have faith in yourself. You have to just go for it. How do you tell people to just go for it when they're so limited by everything that they've experienced in their life that they think is something that's holding them back as a limiting belief? How do you help people get over those limiting beliefs?
Pretty much in talking to people and figuring out what their limiting beliefs are, I sort of dive into it that way. But I just sort of go for it with people and use analogies, and that's why I told a lot of my stories, because I've done a lot of different little things that I can really help them. So when I figure it out, but the limiting beliefs are on our own. So all right, so a limiting belief. I can't tell you how many people that I'll talk to that say, oh no, I don't run because I hurt my knee, or whatever it might be. So when I was 34, I had a really bad accident. I fell off a balcony. I broke my ribs, shattered my pelvis, broke my back, broke my arm, almost died. So I should not be running, right? And I never ran before. I was not a runner, okay? 6 years later, my girlfriend gets sick with cancer, and I want to do something to support her. So I ran a race, and I did it because I thought it'd be hard and I would probably never do it again. But then I realized, wow, like I like this and I'm kind of good at it. And when I do run, I feel better. Mm-hmm. And so I am now, I don't even know how many, I have a whole wall of medals downstairs, how many marathons, half marathons, and ultra marathons that I've run. And I could have, that's a huge limiting belief. So by using an example like that, even if I do a talk, it's called the Marathon Mindset. And you don't have to come and listen because you're a marathon runner, because it's not for marathon runners, right? I'm not a coach. I'm not a running coach. I'm a mindset coach. But running a marathon it's the same thing. It's the same concept. Just like Scott before said, hey, let's talk about dogs and the analogies and the life lessons. Because when I talk to someone, I try to figure out a little bit about them, because if I can understand what language they speak or can understand, I can come up with some analogy to show them how to get by their limiting beliefs. So there's a lot of times, like I was listening to a podcast, and it didn't serve me because it was too technical, I guess. It was the I don't even know, talking, like it didn't make sense to me. Like you really had to pay attention and figure it out. But when you talk, like Scott just laid it out perfectly before. What lessons did you learn from your dog? And you're like, wow, yeah, we don't need college professors, do we? Labradoodles across the stage. And so when I coach someone, and I think the best way to coach people is to figure out what language they speak, and then make an analogy around that. So the marathon mindset one is really good because people can't wrap their head around running. And so I use that to sort of, and then I can take running a marathon and then put it into whatever they're doing, right? One step at a time, and the training and having support systems and, taking care of yourself, whatever. But I mean, it goes deeper than that. But I don't know if in a roundabout way that made any sense to you guys.
Absolutely.
Was so perfect. It's ridiculous because, we started with dogs and we were talking about how to heal people and how to get in resiliency. And the number one way to heal anything, because we're a collective, is communication. And you just spoke perfectly about communication, because one of the things that we do is we speak different languages unintentionally. We speak Republican, we speak Democrat, we speak female, we speak male, we speak black, we speak white. And we decide that those are languages instead of just saying, what are your interests and how do we get there? And the times that I notice a lot of people will selfishly do this. Let's say I'm going for a job interview and I walk into the guy's office and he has a big fish hanging on the wall, and I start doing fish analogies. Well, that's just cheating to get to his language. But it's smart, right? Why don't we do that with everybody who doesn't have something to offer? And that, when I say it doesn't have something to offer, that's our own ignorance anyway. Because this is an obvious offer because I'm trying to get a job. But what about the person who who should be nice to? Why don't we speak their language? I see somebody wearing a jacket that says a certain city. Oh, you come from that city? I'm 2 cities away. Did you grow up there? Did you go to high school there? Like, why do we not want to do that? And that's a thing. Chris and I have been talking about this. Humanity has been on autopilot for so long that we're going through the motion that we just say, I don't understand you, instead of saying, let me find commonality to understand you. So let's dive more into that, because I think this show could finish off really nicely with everything we've been talking about. We've got some dog lessons. Dogs communicate better than any of us for one reason. They don't use this. They use this. They come in the door. They want to give you a hug. Sure, they want food. They want the necessities, but they just want to connect. Mm-hmm. How can we as individuals connect more to people the way a dog would, or the way a smart coach would? How do we speak a common language, whether it's the language of the heart, the language of love? How do we do that? Because everyone wants it deep down, and we've strayed from it. I use that strayed. That was a dog analogy, just to be really clear there.
Perfect. No pun intended.
I don't want to throw it out there, but I figured I'd let you know.
At least it's not a beautiful day analogy.
Oh, you making YouTube joke? Are we doing YouTube jokes now?
No. It's my life, man. I'm gonna live while I'm alive.
Oh, that's funny. So I really think that we don't listen enough. And, dogs are intuitive, because if you are in a bad mood, Okay. Say you're having a little fit. They might go sit over there, right?
Yeah.
They don't come over and say, "Hey, what's going on?" They pick up on those vibes. And I'm a professional network marketer, right? So, oops.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. I'm suddenly big. I was like,
you're more important than I.
No, I'm here by myself. I'm talking to myself. But so what happens is, and now I lost my train of thought because I'm here by myself.
You're not here by yourself. I was going
no,
to
I'm not.
get something. I wanted to show you something. So I put you full screen and then I had to disconnect my headphones.
Okay. See, and so then I got distracted.
We're ADD too. We're all the same. We get you. We feel you.
Oh.
You get stung by a bee.
Warn the guest. Hey, you might be like, where did everybody go?
Wait a second.
That's what I was thinking. And then I'm like, I'm not falling for this. They just want me to talk to myself.
John's behind you. John's behind you.
John, be careful. He's got his book back there.
No, I know he's not here, or I'd have him sitting here.
All right,
we would rip it up together.
Okay, take two.
So what I was going to say was, in order to be a professional network marketer, there's not really a training that you go to. You really have to work on yourself and work on your mindset and work on your skills. And I have done a fabulous job in network marketing because I get people. And so there's all different things you could say, there's colors and there's whatever and personalities. I just really, probably one of the best trainings I ever attended and took away, the golden nugget from was we had to, so, you go to a little conference, right? And you're there with your best friends and you're sitting together and you have your snacks and, you've got your notebooks and all of a sudden they say, okay, get up, take your stuff and go sit with 3 people that you've never met. And you're like, oh my gosh, we flew all the way to Arizona and now we can't even sit together, right?
Yeah.
But
people.
Yeah, but what they did is they told us to have conversations, and our conversations were 10 minutes, 5 minutes, for me, 5 minutes for the other person. But have a conversation and find 5 things that in common with each other. So it really taught you to get to the heart of asking people questions. And, I take it even a step further. It's kind of funny. So one year I took my husband fishing for our anniversary. He loves to fish. So we went up to Lake George. I rented a boat and it was like just a private fishing charter. So it was the captain and me and my husband.
Wow.
And we were out for 4 hours. And at the end, the captain dropped us off and he gave us his card and he said, boy, I'd love to see you again. And, call me if you come back up. He didn't know anything about us, which shame on him. But he was so attracted to us because we asked him questions. We really got to know him. And we did a lot of listening. And in my world, I wasn't there for him to learn about me. It didn't really matter. But he didn't get it, right? Because he should have taken his part of the time to really get to connect with us. Because for us, we wouldn't really want to go back with him again, right? Because I'll tell you, no, because we all desire being heard.
Yes.
And being validated and being listened to. So if you really take the time to connect and listen to people and ask questions, then you've got this huge bond. Yeah. And you can really go places. So I don't meet people, I sell things, right? We all sell things. I don't meet someone to sell them something, right? I meet someone to bring more people into my world. If they buy something from me, great. If they buy something if they never do, that's great too. But I collect people and I love it because it's just, I can't tell you, even before I started ever making any kind of money, I felt rich.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so rich that I had people, so many people. I mean, I have a small family. I have a brother and a sister and, my mom and dad, and we didn't have, there were some cousins that lived far away, but we didn't have a big family. And so I grew up kind of sheltered and then, had a couple of friends. So I love connecting. And when we connect with each other, we can just make things happen. It's amazing.
It's so beautiful, Susan. So beautiful. So on point. The world is struggling right now at the time of the taping of the show. We're going through the presidential elections here in the United States. We're going through COVID after we're October, 7 months. We've had the injustices of what's going on with the George Floyd stuff. There's so many different things going on. I know that Ireland is on lockdown right now for COVID. I know that England is just going through it now again. It wouldn't surprise me if it's going to come here. So Susan, with everything that you know and everything that you've experienced in your life, and then this is no pressure, this is zero pressure. If you had a microphone right now and the entire world was listening, what would you, I mean, seriously, what would you say to the world right now if you had a minute or so to really get them through this time? People are struggling. They're losing hope. They're frantic. Their unemployment benefits are running out. They might get evicted. There's a lot of serious situations that are going on in the world. What would you tell them from all of your experience, everything, every turmoil, every challenge, every upset, everything you've helped your coaching clients through, everything you helped your family through, your son? What would you say to people to get them through this time, to keep them focused on what it is they need to keep doing? Because you talked about it many times. You talked about resiliency. You talked about commitment. You talked about really endurance through doing these runs. How do you keep their endurance levels up to keep going through these times?
That's a great question for me, because I was telling you about my marathon mindset, and I'm going to give you an analogy, and hopefully this will help everyone.
Full screen, and you're still here.
Okay. So a marathon is 26.2 miles. I don't know if you know that. A lot of people will say to me, how long was this marathon? I'm like, they're all the same. Yep. 26.2 miles. So if you've ever driven your car 26.2 miles, it's a long way, right? Mm-hmm. You think about it. You don't just get in your car and drive. That's like a little trip. So to run that distance is kind of unthinkable. And what am I thinking about when I'm at the start line and I have a couple of drinks on me and packets of goo and just my legs to get me to the finish line? I stay where I am. So I don't think about mile 5. I don't think about mile 25. I think about mile 1. I think about where I am. I stay in the moment. And as I move forward, I'll reassess. And I think what in life and what's happening now, so many people are not living in the moment because they're projecting what's going to happen. And then this is going to happen. Then this is going to happen. And they're already 4 months down the line, and they've stopped. They're not addressing what they need to do right here. Because I'll tell you, I've run many marathons, but when that gun goes off, if I started thinking about mile 26, I would just probably pack it in. You can't think too far ahead. And I'm not saying don't plan, don't be dumb, don't be prepared, but stay in the moment. And the next thing you know, you are going to hit that finish line wherever you are in your life. And so that's, I think that is the best advice that I can give, because there's a lot of things we can tell people, but we can't look out that far. It's too far. It's overwhelming. It causes you to quit. I know I've actually had some classmates that have committed suicide through this COVID.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, we just had something a week ago for one of the guys in our class, and it is overwhelming to think of something so huge and daunting. So if you've never run a marathon, and even if you have, believe me, I've run many, but I never get to the start line and go, oh, this is a piece of cake. I do it the same thing I stay where I am. So I think that it's important for people to not project too far ahead, see what's going to happen. The presidential election, we don't even know for sure who is going to be the president, but whoever it is, we deal with the outcome and we go from there, and we go from, we just get so worked up and get ourselves so far ahead that we don't accomplish anything today.
So true. So true. Where can people get a hold of you? Where can they buy your book, Susan Wheeler?
Well, you can get my book on Amazon. I'll hold it up here. It's in the background too. I'm going to leave it there for John, but it's called The Lemonade Diet. It's on Amazon. Also my website, which is susanvwheeler.com. And I love getting follows on Facebook. I'm Susan V. Wheeler on Facebook, and I'm Susan_V. Wheeler on Instagram. There must be another one there too.
Underscore. Let me see if I can do that one real quick. _Wheeler. Susan_V. Wheeler.
Let's see. That's Instagram.
Are you going to prove me wrong?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to get you some shout outs. So Susan_Wheeler.
You got to do the V Wheeler at Susan.
Susan_V. Wheeler, right?
_V. Wheeler.
You had it.
Gotta have the V in there. Yeah.
I'm listening. I'm listening, Susan. I listen.
Did I say the wrong thing?
No, you said it. He's doing all the work, so I can't give him a hard time.
Christopher, you are totally forgiven.
Is that right? At Susan_V. Wheeler? Is that right?
It should be.
Perfect.
It should be.
Yeah. You nailed it.
I try to. I really do. Susan, thank you so much for being here. You've been an awesome guest, sharing everything from dogs. I'm so sorry. I send you big hugs. One thing I wanted to show you guys, because I did actually turn the camera off. This is me. Is
that Adobe?
He is Adobe. He is Adobe Mix. He is amazing. My wife got me this perfect picture. It's glass. This was in my office when I was a corporate dude a year ago tomorrow, by the way. Yeah, he is my buddy. He is my best friend. I would take a bullet for this dog. Every time I get home, whether it's 10 minutes or anything else, he greets me like I've been gone for 10 years. You're right. Animals are amazing. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Make sure that does not break, because that would be me. Like, oh, let me pull this off for my show and have it shatter in a million pieces. Like, no, really? This is my Friday night. So Susan, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for raising a really super kick-ass dude in John. We love him to death. So thank you so much for that. And we truly just really appreciate you being here with us tonight. We're going to take out the show just a little bit, but again, you have an awesome weekend. Thank you so much for being here.
Awesome.
And, stay backstage. We're going to talk to you in just a second. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. And then there was Scott and Chris. What's up, Scott? Is this where we say goodbye?
Chris, it might be over, bro. Is it over?
Is it over? Is the bromance over?
I don't know if you recall, but in high school, when we would have our graduation, they used to always call it commencement.
I didn't go to high school, dick. I dropped out in the 7th grade. Don't you know my fucking story?
Work with me. Just work with me here.
Remember in high school when I didn't get to go to prom and I didn't get to do all those things when I was like miserable and I didn't get to
try to make this make some sense here. Just work with me. Here's the deal. If you went to high school and you graduated, they call it commencement. And most people at the time thought commencement meant ending, but commence actually means to begin. So what I'm trying to say here, Chris, is even though this may be the last Friday night ever, and we will thank Susan Wheeler on sharing the fact that connection, whether it's with dog, human, and communication is so important. Even though that might be the last thing we ever hear on Friday Night Live with Christopher Rausch and Scott Goyette, even though that's a reality, that this is the end of it all, does not mean that it's not a commencement of something new. Chris, can you tell them what they've won?
Ooh, Scott, what do you guys want to win? What do you think? What do you think, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? What do you think you could possibly win out of this? This is, it's a great segue, Scott. It's, I mean, something that we built here over, this really started from COVID.
Yeah.
This really, I had my show, you had your show, and I was like fat and happy and everything was good. And all of a sudden I got this message from Glenn Mooreshower, and all of a sudden, boom, start doing lives. All of a sudden, boom, all of a sudden doing Friday Night Lives. Boom. You introduce yourself. Boom. We're doing these things. We're doing Friday Night Lives. And we're like, hey, we're just here inspiring people. You and I didn't even think about it. We have not strategized anything. We're just like, we show up every single week, do these things, build our community, love our fan base. I just really noticed there was an angry face on somebody. Gave somebody an, I'm sorry. I just got an angry. There was an angry face.
Something bad?
Oh, Robert,
because we're not doing it anymore.
Oh, I'm like, sorry.
Just wait.
I see angry face. Don't give me angry face.
Hold on, guys.
No, okay, but seriously, we started this just out of the goodness of our hearts of wanting to bring you guys a place to have a Friday night where you could just be like, okay, cool. It's the end of the week. What do I got to do? Give me a place to have a drink. Give me a place to be entertained. Give me a place to get some motivation, some inspiration to get through this. But what Scott and I have done is really taken a step back to say, okay, this is a lot of fun for us. We have a kick-ass time doing this. Friday Night Live, it's like, all right, cool. Have a couple of drinks, interview some people, spread some cheer, get on with our weekend. But in looking at what we want to really do, our purpose is to impact you guys and impact more people. And realizing this is to build a show around what you guys want, really create a community, really create a crew, an unfiltered crew who could come with us and really experience what it is that it takes us to get to the next level. We've been through all the shit now. We're going through the final part of the shit. Hopefully there's still going to be COVID and everything. But what we want to do is we want to take everything to the next level. We want to take you guys to the next level. We want to build a brand out of this. We want to build a mission out of this. We want to build a community out of this, something that you guys can have a place to come to every Friday night, and in between where you can get your inspiration, your motivation, your education, your entertainment, having fun, just really living life, and just really teaching you guys how to have, that energy and that enthusiasm to get through these tough times, to really realize, to live in the moment, to be a part of a community that really understands and accepts you, that tells you to fly your freak flag, that tells you to be who you need to be, tells you how to just own your existence and not have any regrets. And that's what we're really building for you guys. And although Friday Night Live is ending, at the same time, like Scott said, commencement. So we invite you guys to come aboard. We invite you guys, our family, our crew, our unfiltered crew. We'll tell you more about that later. To help us design what it is that's going to be the next version of what Chris and Scott do. Something to add to that, Mr. Scott?
I do. And here's what we're really looking for. Chris, can we tell them the name, or do you want to hold off on that? Let me drop that in.
We kind of did a little bit, a little teaser.
Can we tell them?
Yeah.
All right, so guys, here's the official name of our new program. We're going to tell you how we're going to do this. We think that you guys are the only reason that we're existing and doing this. We've got some information. We make sure we're saying the things that are timely. We know that it's important to find the opportunity and the problem. We bring that. We bring that daily, and we bring that to you in Chris's Walk and Talks and my show, The Awakening You, and Raw and Unscripted. And we come here in this culmination here, and we bring it together for you. So what we want to do is we want to have a place when you are exhausted, you're tired, you're ready just to say, what do I got to do this week to make things happen? What do I got to do to make things work? We have a place that you can come. It's called the Unfiltered Experience. The Unfiltered Experience has a family, and that family is called the Unfiltered Crew, and that's you. Please start sharing in anything that you share, the hashtag, the Unfiltered Experience and Unfiltered Crew. That's you guys. So we're going to start building from now till just after Thanksgiving, and we're going to make sure that we build this thing right. If you can help us, we're going to be having short, quick shows on Friday night. They're just going to be quick from now till just after Thanksgiving. We're going to build this thing. We're going to make sure we have the best guests, just like Susan. We're going to bring super value, you guys. We're going to do more than just this show. We're going to have things off the show that all connect to make sure that you guys are able to step up and step into living in the moment, because we love you. We want the best for you. And this show is going to make sure that you are delivered that daily, and every Friday night. It's going to be the culmination of everything we bring every week. And so you mean something to us. We love you. We're here for you. There's really no other way to say it. Chris, anything else? Did I miss anything?
Perfect, dude. Perfect. I love it.
So we're going to jump in with just short shows without guests for the next Friday nights. And we're just going to just give you what we're trying to figure out right now is exactly what we use for the tagline, what kind of things we can do to give back to you. We're kind of coming up with some of the marketing and the ways to build this out. But remember the hashtags. Krista, it's the unfiltered experience. The hashtag would be the unfiltered experience and the unfiltered crew or unfiltered crew. I said the unfiltered crew, right?
I think we got to stick with
So we're going to go with it's hashtag the unfiltered crew would be you guys, our family, and the unfiltered experience. And we've got great people designing all the logos, the artwork, the backdrop, everything. And we're really working hard to make sure that we up the family. Like we want to make sure that there's more people here interacting, and we're really sharing with a lot of people because we love you guys. So thank you so much. Nothing but love. I mean, honestly, every time we come do this, no matter what mood or vibe we're in, we always leave better off because we know we connected with you.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Very, very well stated and so appreciated, dude. This has really been something that I never expected. Really, when people sit there and talk about COVID and like, oh, this has been that, I'm like, and I think I just posted this the other day. I've had so many amazing blessings from this time. I mean, really getting to know you, meeting Serena, getting back with Patricia, Robert. I mean, Angel. I mean, so many freaking people. I don't understand why I said freaking either. Sometimes I wonder why I don't cuss, and I just like
everyone the same thing.
Fuck. I'm like, I just said friggin'. I think it's because I think about my son. But, there's been so many amazing opportunities and so many amazing experiences and memories. I mean, just think about the people we've had on and the discussions we've had. I mean, the amazing discussions. I mean, remember Jason, and we're talking about Black Lives Matter. We're talking about injustices. We've talked about so many things. And now this is really the opportunity for Scott and I to take this to the next level. But to take this to the next level, we want you guys. We want you guys to help us. We want you guys to tell us, send us comments, send us feedback, what it is that you want to see. What is it? What it would be the maximum value you could get out of an hour spending time with us? What is it that you want to see to make that interaction happen? How much do you want to be involved? Do you want to be involved with Scott and I? I mean, we want to develop a team. We want to take what we're doing here because we're so passionate about it to really blend this out into the rest of the world, to really create a community that we can build together and take everything that we've had happen over the last 7 months and the rest of our lives and say, okay, you know what? Just like Susan said, you have an opportunity to say and take that and use it as something different. So why not make this a pivotal point in your life? Let us know what you want. Let us know what you want from an hour with us. Do you want guests? Do you want to be involved in this? However it is that we can make this custom catered to you guys so that when you come here on Friday nights, you're feeling charged, you're feeling ready to go. We love you guys. I mean, seriously, we do this for you guys. We do this for ourselves as well. But the point and the mission is to spread the love and the cheer, spread the faith, spread the inspiration, but most importantly, spread it in a real, truthful, authentic, vulnerable, raw way. Just to really be real with you guys, because so many people out there are being fake. They're putting on stuff. There's so many coaches and so many speakers and everything else. Scott and I are real people. We love you guys. We want real people as part of our community. We don't want anybody who's fake, and we want to grow this to be really to take over the world and just realize we're all more similar than we are different, and we all rock and roll. We all rock and roll in different ways. We have different preferences and everything else, but that's what makes the world go around.
1000%. I have nothing else to say, Chris. You nailed it. These people are beautiful. Transparency, vulnerability, and love. That's all we're offering.
No sugarcoating. What's up, Marlene? Thank you so much. Yes, Teresa, Noel, Sil Cox. Thank you so much for really being here. Bring more art and music. Yes, thank you.
Oh, we'll do that. You have no idea. We have so many musicians, so many artists. Like, there's so much. Keep bringing those comments because we have it. And we have people who are geniuses and beautiful humans. We're ready for it.
We are. I love you, Scott. I'm gonna take us out here for a second. And yeah, you know what, guys, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Things end and things begin. Right? Think about your life. Things have ended. Right? Think about what Susan said tonight about her dog. Think about what she said about her dad. Think about things in your life that have ended. And you can do one of two things. You can look back and go, hey, I really wish that wouldn't have ended. I feel bad. I'm not the same since it's ended. Or you can sit there and you could choose to turn around and say, you know what? I'm going to take something that has ended and make a beautiful beginning out of something else. Ooh, can you imagine that? Can you imagine you shifted the fact that you got fired from your job or you got laid off from your job? Can you imagine this? And you shifted that and you said, wow, no, I got a new beginning. Now I'm going to do what I really want to do. Now I'm going to live congruently. Now I'm going to live truthfully. Now I'm just going to be me. You see that? You can get fired from a job or get laid off from a job, and you can switch and you can pivot to become really it is what you're supposed to be. And we talked about a jump. You know, when are you going to jump? How old are you? Where are you at in life? If you're young, you should be jumping definitely. If you're old, you should definitely be jumping. We should all be jumping. But guess what? We're like here for a nanosecond. We're here for a nanosecond. So we want you guys to jump with us. We guys want you to have a party with us. We guys want you to grow with us. We want to grow with you. That's what this is about. The unfiltered experience. You know, truthful, honest, congruent, impactful. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. Let's bring art and music into this. Let's bring comedy into this, right? That's why we call it the experience. The experience, because we live in such a filtered world. We filter everything. Oops, I didn't realize that was up there. We filter everything. And then we put a mask on, not even the freaking COVID mask. So we filter everything and then we put a mask on to be able to react or respond to that filter. It's exhausting. It's ridiculous. We are the unfiltered experience and we love you guys. Send us messages. You got both my contact information and Scott's. Send us what you want. We're going to be reaching out to you because we know who you are. We're going to come after you and say, what do you guys want? Because we love you, but we're still going to be here every Friday night in some form or fashion because we just can't stay away. So we love you guys. Have a kick-ass weekend. Stay safe. Have amazing moments. Please, just moments. Be in the moment. I'm going to go be in the moment with my family. I love you guys. Peace out. And thank you guys for being